Welcome back to the podcast,
Hello,
folks. How
hello.
are we? Happy Tuesday.
Happy
Back-to-back
Tuesday.
Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Back-to-back Tuesdays.
So far, we're sticking with the Tuesdays, huh?
Yeah, off a couple things off bat. One, let us know how you like Tuesday.
Yeah.
It seems like it makes a little more sense as opposed to Thursday. We're closer to SmackDown, or we're hot off of Raw.
Yep.
So let us know how you like the change, or if it doesn't matter.
Or if you fucking hate it.
Second thing, we are on Spotify. I never plug with Spotify, but if you want to listen to us on Spotify, search that up and whatever. Last plug before we really dive into it. This is today's free episode. If you want to see today's episode ad free, as well as an entire bonus episode that we record after this for another like 50 minutes to an hour, check out patreon.com/Stache Club Wrestling. For $5.99 a month, you get that, and as well as the entire backlog of stuff. We answer a bunch of questions, and you get first access to merch and maybe some sales that are going on.
A deal to me.
And that's the plugs. That's what we got
That's
for
the
today.
plug.
What up, everyone? We got a lot to talk about. We're going over SmackDown. We're going over Raw.
Buckle in.
I do because I always forget to do this, and I always love showing love. I did go to an indie show.
I saw you posted
this
some.
weekend. It was the Beyond Wrestling show.
So you
Shout out
posted some stuff.
Beyond Wrestling. It was sick. It was at this it was at this small little like music venue. So they had like the stage and like they set up the ring and everything.
That's cool.
And my favorite part about it started at like 3 p.m.
Oh, fantastic.
Ended at like before 6. So
yeah,
it was
so
something like that.
3 hours.
Something like that. And it was not, and it was a Saturday, so like I went to the wrestling show, got like dinner with friends afterward,
Hell
had a full Saturday.
Fuck yeah.
So I do want to shout out some names here. I want to shout out our guy TJ Crawford, who friend of the pod, who I showed up an hour late, so I did come in just as his pinfall was happening. He did get the dub, but that's my bad.
Shout out TJ.
Shout out new WWE prospect, our guy Marcus Mathers.
Yeah, that's fucking sick. Congratulations, bro. That's awesome.
Well, we got tag team, the IWTV Tag Champs Fresh Air. They were sick. The first time I've seen them. Special shout out to McCray Martin, real friend of the pod, real self-proclaimed Stache Club stan.
Wow, McCray Martin's a sick name.
It is a cool name.
So is Fresh Air.
He comes in, the big dude, big smile on his face, and they have this sick gimmick, like very like Run DMC track suits with like.
I can picture that.
I think they came out to jump around, jump.
All this is the piece of the puzzle getting put together here.
And they I'm like standing there, and he's at the top rope, and he kind of recognized me. He goes, I'm a fan of you. Here, take my shirt. He throws it. I catch his shirt. We did. He was beating down some dude, or someone on the other team on the outside, and kind of like right in front of the crowd, and the crowd kind of made a circle, and goes to hit the guy, turns to me, hits me one of these, and then goes back on the guy.
That's fucking hilarious.
So shout out, like I said, shout out McCray Martin, friend of the show.
Yeah, shout out to you. That's
and
sick.
the main event involved Aaron Rourke, Becca, Gabby Forzet, and Bulk Bronson, 4 very talented people. Put on a banger of a main event.
Hell yeah.
And so yeah,
sounds like a fun time.
It was great. Maybe I'll talk maybe more in depth about it on the Patreon, but I always want to, with any sort of platform that we're given, love to give love. And with that said, there are some WWE ID names coming out of New England. We got Bryce Donovan. It's Gall.
Ooh.
It's Gal. I'm not sure. I've seen him at 1 or 2 shows. Like I said, Marcus Mathers and Zeta Steele.
Very cool.
Admittedly, I've seen It's Gall before. I think I've seen Bryce. But Marcus Mathers is kind of the name that I think we're most familiar with. We've been on a couple shows with Marcus Mathers.
We've been on the card with him
at Focus Pro. Shout out Focus Pro.
That's fucking sick. I mean, I think more details are coming out about this WWE ID thing, and I think people at first were very critical of what the idea of it was, but now
in terms of like a monopoly.
But from what I've seen, it's like basically what it is you're signing these talents, giving them the tools, whatever they need to, for training, whatever it may be, for progressing your career. And if another company comes around like AEW and it's like, hey, we want to sign you, that's great. WWE is basically like, all right, we get first shot. And it's like, if they want to sign you, okay, but we get to sign you first. And if we don't want to sign you,
yeah, by all means.
So if that's from what I've read, if that is what is like, you know, there's probably details here and there, whatever. But if that's like the main bulk of it, like, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it gives a spotlight to these people, you know, in more ways than one, whether it's just from a simple social media post or whatever it may be. It gets more eyes on them. And I think it's dope. I think it's cool seeing all these, like, you know, independent wrestlers getting some shine and getting a really cool opportunity. Especially
now that it's been like, we're starting to see the rollout and people announce, like someone else got announced this morning from Booker T's school. It's like,
there's a few people that like people are expecting or like rumored to sign with them, like Zilla Fatu.
Oh,
like he's a guy that
that would make
sense. Speculating will do it, but
I want to see Alec Price. I think Alec Price. I hope he gets the nod. I mean, like, you know, our guys like TJ Crawford, Love Doug, who
absolutely.
They were recently on, I forget if it was like a Collision segment or an ROH segment, but, you know, a classic, like, you know, I think it was like Masked Men or whatever coming out. I forget what it was. I think they were attacking Christian. I'm not really sure. Or they were Christian's goons. I'm not really sure. But anyway, TJ and Love Doug were like both two guys under the mask in there, you know? But yeah, I'll tell you this, and it's something that I, you know, continue to see, and I'm very, very thankful that this journey has like led me closer to, like, you know, being more knowledgeable about indie stuff around here. The New England scene,
unbelievable,
is like
probably the best,
a top indie scene,
I think,
bro.
I was actually talking to,
because like I said, these four guys are from the New England, or not guys, these four people.
I was talking to Kevin about this and stuff, and my friend Peter, and it's like, I was explaining to them, like, New England and probably like the South, like Texas, like whatever, like some of the biggest territories for like independent wrestling. Like just a lot of real well-known people, a lot of eyes on the wrestling out here. And it's, again, like it's paying off for a lot of these people.
Clearly.
And hopefully it continues to go that way. Cause it's, again, from what I've read, it seems like a cool program, getting more eyes on these people, and that's sweet. They worked hard for it.
Yeah, it's really, like I said, seeing the rollout and seeing people get like recognition. It's like it's now real, and it's like, oh, this is like sick. Like, this is important.
This is a great. I mean, we've said it a million times. Like, we're in such a interesting period of wrestling where it's like we're seeing so many things happen that we never thought would happen before, and it's like seeing something like this. It's just kind of. Just another added thing of like how crazy wrestling is nowadays. We're seeing stuff like this,
especially like even like it's probably the hottest it's been forever. So hot that like the indies are just as on fire and getting looks and paid attention to, and you know, and now, like, you know, people who get released like a Dijak get this second life on the indies, and he's like, been killing it.
Yes,
you know?
He's not on main television or anything like that. He's all over the place. I'm sure he's doing fine, like, well, as far as,
I mean, we could talk about, you know, we could talk about like a Matt Cardona and like all that stuff.
So I mean, it's so different nowadays where you don't have to be a main event player like in a WWE or AEW to make a name for yourself.
Right.
Or like, you're not limited to these big companies. You can wrestle for smaller promotions that people love, is very popular, and you can do well for yourself there.
I started seeing a bunch of tweets after the fact. People get announced or whatever. It was at the same time that a certain clip was circulating, and everyone was like, "Have you seen cocaine?"
Have I seen cocaine? That's who they need to sign.
You gotta sign cocaine as a prospect.
Dude, fucking Dustin Rhodes quote tweeted one of the videos.
Oh, he was like pissed at it, right? He was like,
"This is like a disgrace to wrestling, whether this is real or not." It's like, buddy,
I saw that. I saw that.
That's like Dustin, friend of the podcast,
I don't think
or not.
He pulled out an 8-ball.
He did not spend that much money on coke for a bit in a match. Like, I don't think he bought an 8-ball for a match.
Rips open the 8-ball.
That's a lot of coke. That's a lot of money. So I've seen shit like that.
The iterations of Kane, like, there's
so many of them.
I think Gay Kane,
Gain,
Blue Kane, Gain,
just Gain. I think.
Blue Kane was the first one I saw that kind of started all, because it was just Kane but blue, and now Cocaine. It's awesome.
Me and my friend,
love it.
my buddy, who just like he's a wrestling fan too, but he's just like I mentioned him before how like as the last year he's been getting more into it, and he finds like all these indie stuff, and he sent me stuff with Joe Hendry before he was even like super popular, and he sent me like anytime a Kane variation comes up, he sends me. He goes, "Dude, have you seen Cocaine?" And I'm like,
It's so good. I was cracking up when they were like, WID's got to get on cocaine.
He's next up, man. I'm telling you. They got something here, man.
Oh, man.
He can print them money.
All right. We're going to move on.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest news, or one of the biggest pieces of news to come out. We got on SmackDown the announcement of the Women's United States Championship. Women finally have a mid-card title. We've been asking for this, specifically
we won, just us,
not even
just
the general. Me and you.
Nope, we sent emails, letters.
Give us the mid-card
tweets.
title. It's time for it. So everyone, you're welcome.
You're welcome. Nick Aldis, I'm surprised they must have cut out the part of the promo where he was like, I want to give a special shout out to Stache Club Wrestling for
good
giving
idea,
me this
boys.
idea.
Yep.
But it's all right. Well, the royalty checks will be in the mail. But yeah, no, dude. I mean, it is. All kidding aside,
I am fired up.
So long overdue.
I love it. The belt looks awesome.
It looks the white strap.
So
the white strap
good.
is no matter what belt it is, a white strap is going to always make a belt look better.
It complements that U.S. belt. It does so much.
It really does. We've seen what the North American Championship has done in the women's division for NXT, and I think seeing that success, WWE main roster, like we can definitely emulate that on the main roster. They have so many talented female stars that are barely getting used, barely getting any time. And now and they also announced, so I don't know if we have it on the rundown, but RAW and SmackDown are going to be 3 hours. Oh, it's actually,
we'll talk next. We'll talk next about it,
So they have more time. There gives me more opportunity for these women to battle over this belt. Nick Aldis mentioned that it will be on both brands to start. So I'm curious if that's something that is for the time being, or it's going to be like a permanent thing. I don't know if they'll introduce a second one for a different brand, or
I hope they keep it just this one. Like, of course, you're like, if they have a U.S. title, why wouldn't they have the IC belt?
Right. And that's I think the United States, like, I get why it's the United States belt, but them doing that makes me think that there's going to be an IC belt. Like,
I'm sure there will eventually.
You know what I mean? A new belt.
I think it's way too much to introduce them both at the same time when you don't even have, like, get the U.S. division going, work it out, work out the kinks, put it on both shows like the women's tag belts. You get more talent, you get more opportunity. I will say something that drives me crazy about the internet is I do want to talk about who we think should be the inaugural champion.
Sure.
But like I cast my vote, and I was like Zelina. This is 3 minutes after the announcement happens on TV. I go, I hope Zelina gets it, and everyone's like, no, stupid, she can't get it because they're gonna announce an IC belt on Monday, idiot, and she's on Raw, stupid. It's gonna be Chelsea or fucking Michin, idiot. I'm like, okay, hey, guess what they didn't announce on Monday? No IC belt on Monday.
And they also said in the promo that's going to be on both brands.
Yep. So
yeah, man, I do agree. I think you do need to build up this one belt.
Yes.
And I think I mentioned there's a lot of female talent, but at the same time, it's like you don't want to water down or oversat. Like you have enough talent where like now you have 3 singles belts and a set of tag team championships where it's like you add this belt in the mix now, or it's like you can have a lot of people going after this, and like if you create a second one, then it's kind of like you're splitting it up, and it might get a little the roster might be a little thin at that point if you're going after 2 belts. So having it being one and it's this new shiny belt, whatever, everyone's gonna be coming after it. Make it feel important, and then not even like in like the near future, maybe even like a year from now or something like that.
I don't see
like
a need to do it
at some point
soon.
Next year you can do it. I do again, like them introducing as the United States Championship makes me think that they're going to make an IC belt.
Absolutely.
Just because if you wanted it to be its own thing, why not make a whole new thing? But again, just for what it is, that having the one belt right now, amazing. I haven't really thought about who I'd want to win.
Before that was one more argument I've seen, which I think I honestly, it's not as deep to me as it is other people, but I think I am slightly on the side of it of like, I kind of like WWE do this new thing now where like we see it with the North American title where they make the women's version of the men's title, right? There's a men and women's of the North American. The both world titles are copy and paste in terms of design and name. So it makes sense why they would just stick with what they've been doing in terms of just like copy and paste. But I wouldn't have hated if we got something totally fresh. Exactly. And I'm not trying to complain for the sake of complaining, because like I said,
the belt does look great.
The belt's beautiful. I love it. I'm glad they got the mid-card title. I wouldn't have hated it to be a totally unique design, a totally unique name.
Like that. I was gonna say like a women's television championship, because they used to have like television titles, but something different.
Women's European title. I don't know. Bring back something or whatever.
Hey, ECW, they didn't have a women's brand on 2K. Women's ECW championship.
In the same sense, I do also understand it, because it's very cohesive to have it's
consistent.
Yeah, and it also like it helps the argument to like. If they made a full, let's just say for the sake of it, they call it like the women's TV title, right? No one knows where to put that. So does that go above a United States title? Is it above an IC
but
title?
If it's United States, you know
that it stacks up right along with where the men's IC and US titles stack up. So it's like, so there's no, it's easier for, it makes it harder for audiences to brush it away because they just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So at least it's WWE being like, here, it's the fucking US title.
Right. Yeah. No, I get that. And it's like,
which I think is a good thing.
And I'm not trying to say this as like a jab to AEW, but you have like the TNT Championship, the Continental Championship, the the one
international continental, all the ROH titles.
Dude, it's just like I don't know where those rank. Like which one's closer to the World Championship, which one's close to a mid card. Like I have my thoughts on like which ones I feel like are more, but it's hard. Like,
is it the world title and then all of these six?
Exactly. It was a boom, 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 boom. But like you have the United States Championship in this case. Like where that ranks. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I'm super hyped about it. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for women. Also, like with what we're going to get into next, actually, we can save it for what goes into next. But there's going to be a lot of people going after this belt, and it's going to be fun.
So speaking of that, I know you said you didn't really have anyone in mind, but inaugural champ, who should win it first?
Okay, so you said Zelina.
My pick's Zelina Vega.
That's a good one.
I thought that was going to be like popular. I didn't see her name thrown around it.
No, that's a good one. I think that
I think it's so deserved. She's never gotten the world title. She's so consistent.
I think that's who I'm going to be different from you, but I do like that pick.
There's two other names I've seen throw out if you want them.
I'm going to say Chelsea Green, obviously.
Chelsea Green is up there for sure.
And then who was I just thinking of?
I mentioned Michin earlier. I think Michin
Naomi, I think, would be a cool
Naomi's
one.
A great one.
Yeah, Natalia, I'd say, because she's kind of like
makes sense.
She's kind of like she's always been there and stuff, like inaugural United States. I feel like that kind of like goes with like her best of all time thing. Yeah, I mean, again,
I like a Kairi Sane, a Dakota Kai.
There's an endless list. So that I was just gonna say that. Like, I mean, we could sit here and rattle off 10, 15 names that we feel deserve it. And yeah, it's gonna be great. I hope they do a tournament. They have to do a tournament.
I really want to see a tournament.
If this was 10, 15 years ago, I would believe that they just do a battle royal, but it's not. So I hope that
they haven't really announced anything. Like they haven't been talking about.
I mean, they just announced the belt, so I'm sure next week they'll do kind of like if there's a tournament, they'll start like rolling out the names and whatever.
I would hope. Timing might be a time crunch, but I would want it to culminate at Survivor Series.
That's what I was.
We're getting closer, but
I could
we'll see.
I mean, we talked about how do you make Saturday night main event such a big event. I think that.
I forgot about that too.
That could be a good place from them.
It's also a good point. Yeah,
that could be a good place. So, yeah, whenever it is, it's going to be a historical day.
But like you were getting at, we're kind of move on to there are reports, or it might even be as well as confirmed. Unsure on that, but reports of both Raw and SmackDown becoming 3-hour shows.
We won.
There will be. There's talks of with this transition to both shows being 3 hours, there will be NXT call-ups to kind of fill out the shows, and Also in the same breath, this is old news. This is like 2 or 3 weeks old. But Netflix, I think I got the names right. I couldn't find the tweet, but Netflix requested CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Roman Reigns to be on Raw.
Yeah, man. So first of all, we won 3-hour SmackDown. I know we talked about 2-hour Raw. It's like 2 hours is nice. Like
I don't dislike it as much as people do.
I don't. It's not that I dislike it, but I really do think that extra hour is important.
Sure,
it really is key. It's just you can just tell the difference, not in the quality of the show, but just like people being left off, things not feeling rushed, but you kind of just like fitting things in,
putting 3 segments into one.
Exactly, which can be. They've made it work, but I do miss and prefer the 3-hour days. But besides the point, what I was gonna say. With NXT call-ups and stuff, with the new women's belt, we can see some NXT female superstars getting called up, and CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Roman Reigns. I 100% believe that Netflix was like, we'll give you $5 billion, but we need those 3.
I want the 3 most popular stars on our show.
Roman
of course.
Reigns, they put out their new promotional poster, like their Road to WrestleMania poster, and Roman isn't on it for SmackDown. Cody is going to be interesting because he is the world champ, and it's like if he's going to be on Raw, then you need to have Gunther or whoever the world heavyweight champ be on SmackDown because you need to have.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You know what I mean?
They'll do a draft.
They'll do something. You'd imagine that they would. They'll probably, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they did it like early into the Netflix era, like in January. Like they just kind of got it out of the way, or maybe they wait till after Mania.
It would be funny to see like a how they do shots like the control room whenever when they have a Netflix room
Everyone
and a USA Network room
when they get who they. It's like SmackDown drafted Sheamus. And
holy
it's like
shit,
Fox,
we got Cody.
Like,
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure they will do that.
I'm a little in terms of the 3-hour shows though. Raw, I agree with you. I love a 3-hour Raw. When I'm an hour behind, I can like fast forward through commercials and like some boring stuff or whatever. But I think ultimately it's a good thing. I think I saw you like mention it obviously gives more time for more talent, which is ultimately a good thing. NXT call-ups, like more time for more talent is an overall
always
positive.
A good thing.
I am just leery. I'm not sure about. Like SmackDown has it dialed in. The SmackDown 2-hour show, I think, is perfect.
They have figured that out. I do think a lot of it is like we're seeing like Raw wants Roman Reigns and stuff like that. But like if we look back to last year, if the build up to WrestleMania is anything like it was as far as The Rock being around and their promos and stuff, I think that is a big reason why they pushed to 3 hours because The Rock needs like 30 he needs like 30 45 minutes alone.
He's gonna go 20 minutes over his allotted 30 minutes.
Exactly.
I'm optimistic. I do just get flashbacks of like a 2016 era 3-hour Raw where it's like oh my god.
Yeah, they definitely need to like if they're gonna make this change like SmackDown 2-3 hours, like they have to have it figured out. And maybe the United States Women's Championship, like maybe that's a big reason why they
add a new division. Yep, 100%.
They introduced it now because if guys like Roman is getting brought over to Raw, you need to fill up that time. So.
Has it been confirmed if Netflix is gonna have commercials? Do we know?
I honestly don't know how that works, to be honest.
Me neither.
I'd imagine there would be like ads in between matches, like kind of how they do like if you're watching a show, it's like a minute and a half, it'll say in the corner.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how that works. I don't know if it's like if you pay, because there's different Netflix plans where it's like you can pay for no ads. I don't know if you get
because this is the first time. I don't know if it's the first time they've done like a live thing, but this is we talk about this. It's a groundbreaking deal.
This is the first of its kind.
It's the first of its kind. It's the first. It's the first step where streaming is basically just going. I mean, it's already all cable again, but the live weekly television-esque show on a streaming service. So I don't know. I would imagine there would be commercial breaks, maybe less. I don't know.
Like if you have ad free, like you get the privilege of watching the match like when there would be commercials.
Oh,
it's like
maybe.
What if you like the announcers like that's like their break times, like no one's talking or like they keep going, whatever.
I don't know.
I don't know how that works.
You get to see the ring setup and everything.
Well, I'll tell you what, we don't have ad-free Netflix, so I'm sure if
you don't have ad-free Netflix,
it's like $25 a month for ad-free or something like that.
I think for
maybe there's a lesser one for a non-family plan.
It is still expensive. I'm not disputing that. I think the ad-free like regular one is still like
probably like
13 to 15 something like that. Yeah. And the family one, you're right, is like 20. Or the family, it's like a family one, and you also get the privilege of watching stuff in 4K after you already bought a 4K TV. You know what I mean? Don't get me started.
It's a fucking scam. Well, I
don't watch now. I honestly I should even
say
jump
I don't
down to
pay
that
for
one.
our Netflix. Taylor does,
there you go.
So
okay.
like I don't know what plan we have, but yeah, the only reason why the only thing I'll be using Netflix for in a few months is WWE. I don't really watch anything on there.
I got it a few months ago for the Vince doc, and then just figured, well, in 2 months I'm gonna need this, so I'll just keep it.
I do need to watch. I do want to watch Outer Banks, the new season of Outer Banks.
Oh, I'm not really hip on it. I've heard of it, but I'm not really hip on it.
I've seen the first 2 seasons, and I didn't watch I do have to watch the third one too. The fourth one just came out, so I need to watch the last 2 seasons. But
all right, let's jump to Bloodline stuff on SmackDown.
Oh, yeah.
A lot happened, and then we'll go all the way over to Raw.
Was Crown Jewel this past weekend? No, it wasn't. It was the weekend before. I was getting all mixed up. We talked about that.
Daylight savings time is happening now, so nothing feels
Everything's
real.
thrown off. Everything's thrown off.
All right, big rundown here.
Yep.
Bloodline starts out. Sami Zayn comes in, talks to Roman, reminds him of the good days. You want us all back and blah, blah, blah. Sami says, I need an apology. He's like, not for me. You need to apologize to Jay first. Mm-hmm. Roman goes, I'm sorry that I ever let you waste my time with this. Calling Sami not family, blah, blah, blah. Then Roman's like, I want Solo. Jacob Fatu, his promo hits via video package, hyping up Solo. And I want to pause here to give, because this is all, I mean, we can talk about like, the Sami stuff, but it leads to like other stuff in a bigger conversation. But to pause here for Jacob, great promo.
Great promo.
This is like the first time we've seen him alone. It was in video form, but like him alone, just him in the camera, and I think he delivered. I think that was an insight of like
what he
is. Right.
Sure.
That was really good.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, the segment was, trying to get everyone back together, trying to tighten up some loose ends, forgiving people, and led into into Jacob and stuff like that, and as the show goes on, more stuff happens. But yeah, it was a good segment. It was a good segment. I'm still in the camp of like, I still feel like it just feels a little rushed to me still. I think more so with the Sami stuff than anything else. I'm
gonna run through the rest of the stuff.
We'll run through
it's all like
it's all the same. I still stand on that I still feel that
they're
way
rushing
even after
it
this week. Yeah.
All right, so later on in the show, Solo's acknowledgement thing. Roman's gonna acknowledge Solo. Roman refuses. This kind of sets up WarGames. Solo's like, we got our 5th. You guys only have 4, like, or you guys only have 3 or whatever. Says that Sami Zayn is on Team Solo. Roman's getting beat down by the new bloodline. Usos come out, fly by Sami. Sami eventually does run in, ends up helping the Usos and Roman. All 4 stand tall, and Jimmy puts up the 1. Jay puts up the 1. Sami's looking at Roman, puts up the 1. Roman joins, puts up the 1. Still no apology from Roman.
No apology.
But they are standing together. I wouldn't say they're like a cohesive unit, but they're staying tall together. So this is kind of going to my initial thought, or my initial one thing is like, you said you're still in the camp of them rushing it. There's so much they could have done with Sami siding with the other team. And they did that and resolved it in a matter of
10 seconds,
like 7 minutes. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if we got a full again. Like, we were talking about this before, how like WarGames has been kind of a time constraint, and they got to get the match. And there's a lot of setup and a lot of stories they got to tie into for the match to make sense. I get it. I think it ended up, kind of not helping the story. But imagine if we got like a full-fledged, like, Sammy was so ready to join you. He still doesn't trust you. All you need to do is apologize to Jay. Roman doesn't do it. Sammy's hand is forced to join the opposition.
Right.
You could have played
on that,
like 2 months of Sammy being on the other side.
It's just, I don't know if it's even a hot take for me to say, like, from me feeling like it's like this is feeling rushed. I feel like this was such a, like, I want to make it clear too. Like, I'm where they're at right now. Like, I'm happy. Like, it's dope. Like, the final image of all of them with the fingers up and stuff. Like, where we're at and like them coming back together. I like that and it's cool. But I just feel like they could have done it in a much more like. Roman came back. The
story's good, but it's being told fast.
Roman came back at SummerSlam. He had the tag team match with Cody. And then I feel like there was just like there was a gap where like they could have started these things, like planting these seeds a month earlier. And if they did that, I feel like that gives you so much more time to make it believable. Because again, like we're coming off a 4-year stint where Roman was this narcissistic, pathological liar, this gaslighter, abusive, maniacal, whatever, tribal chief. And within a few weeks, all the people that he fucked over are back on his side. Yep. And then Sammy's, I don't know if he said this on SmackDown or Raw, but he was like, at the end of the day, like, we do have family, like, blah, blah, blah. It's like, but last week, you were just talking about how he fucked over Jimmy so bad and Jay, and like he asked for the apology. He didn't give the apology, but at the end of the show, he still joined him. It's again, like, I think
a few weeks ago, Jay was on the other side being like, Sammy's not family. By the end of the show, he was like, well, Sammy he's family. Uso.
Yeah, Sammy Uso. He's getting the crowd to chant Sammy Uso. So it's, I just feel like, and I get it. Like now it's like, okay, now we're on the hunt for a 5th member. So this is what the last 2 weeks is going to be about. But again, like if they just started this just a few weeks earlier and just made it more believable, I don't know. Like I like the story again, and that's why it feels weird because I like the story. It just feels so.
It feels run fast forward.
It does, and
like I said, like you could have blown it out. There's so much reason for Sammy to be opposed.
Yeah, exactly.
Have him run with a new bloodline even for a couple weeks, and then do the big turn.
Right.
Oh my God, they got Sammy, and then look for a partner or whatever.
The pop from the crowd of them standing tall together, the original OG bloodline on the Friday before WarGames would have been like, it's like, oh, for weeks, it's like, are they going to be together? Are they going to be a last show before WarGames? They stand tall. That's sick going into the event. Not 2 weeks before, 3 weeks before. Like it's still sick, but I don't know. I don't know if it's unpopular. I tweeted about it last week, and it was very mixed responses about how people feel.
Yeah, I would definitely see it 50-50 because like the other side says like.
For years, it's been dragging on and stuff,
and now people are complaining that we're getting a good pay.
I know, and I get that. I see it that way, but I don't know. It's just they were going at this pace the whole time, and now when we're getting to the good stuff, they're just speed running it. I feel like, and they're going against what they used to be doing. Again, I'm happy, like they're back together. It's cool,
it's all because of WarGames. If the WarGames pay-per-view wasn't in a couple weeks, like I think we would have gotten this kind of full-fledged out. But it's like. The plan for what seems like, I feel like we've been talking about this for a year of like the, Bloodline WarGames, whatever. But to not their credit, if this was the move for a year and we could see this happen for a year, you would think that maybe they would have had it paced out a little better. And, it's not like this is like, it's not like this WarGames match was a surprise. No. And like, I'm pretty
sure we've been talking about this since like summertime.
Yeah. Oh, I would even say like before then. I think whenever Solo started to butt heads with Roman, really,
Yeah, for sure.
I don't disagree. We'll move on. There's a bunch. We're gonna move on, but also go back to the Bloodline. We'll talk about Raw
about it again.
But all right, let's go to great segment. Kevin Owens is on fire. Randy calls out Kevin Owens. He's pissed. He's screaming. Kevin Owens comes out. They brawl. Kevin Owens hits Randy with a outlawed pile driver.
Banned move. It's
so
banned for a reason.
Sick.
Michael Cole said it's banned for a reason. I love this. And again, I said something earlier about the titles, and I'm really not trying to say this as a knock to AEW or any wrestling company or nothing like that. But it's like you have the pile driver for years. WWE protects this move, has this as like a finisher, this band, just like you hit it with someone. Steve Austin broke his fucking neck when Owen Hart hit him with it years ago. And in other companies, again, I'm not trying to knock him. It's that style of wrestling, but now it's like you see like people doing Canadian destroyers like in sequences, and like those moves are like people pop right back up and like whatever, when it's like that waters down the move. Obviously a super kick is probably the best example. Shawn Michaels, Sweet Chin Music, that was the finish. And now a super kick feels just like not even a setup,
an entire WrestleMania match.
Just an entire WrestleMania match. But when you do it like this and you sell it, and it wasn't even the move itself. It's just
I will say it was the safest pile driver I've ever seen.
If you actually,
Randy's head was a foot and a half off the ground.
Yeah. If you actually look at the replay, like there's a reason why when they showed the replay, they cut off like the bottom part of it for sure. And they definitely, if they're going to be doing that stuff, they're definitely like, hey, like we're going to like, we'll work with the candle.
Kevin was
the cameras.
so far back. He like Randy, I think Randy just bounced off his thigh.
100%. And it's like Triple H like, we'll handle the camera work.
Yeah. He
just like make it look good.
Do his best.
Or not look good, but yeah, sell it real
and
good.
Don't kill each other.
And don't kill each other. But yeah.
Randy sold like death. He was like even doing like the thing with his like arms stiff.
He was doing the Tua Tagaloa, where his hands start to seize up. Sorry, Tua. But it's like the not even the move itself, but just the commentators, and just like again emphasizing it's a banned move on social media. They're like really emphasizing how serious this is. Like that's dope.
Randy had spinal injury and this fucked him up. And
it's like, even though it's a move that we see a million times, like in AEW or another company, whatever, it's like to see it happen here and for them to sell it so severe, like it's like this career threatening thing. Dope. They sold it so well, and I think it's a great seed into their feud, and also Kevin and Cody, I'm assuming, is what it leads into. Yeah,
I mean, this could all like I think we'll get a Kevin and Cody rematch at WarGames. I mean, the speculation of like, you know, Cody joining WarGames. We're gonna talk more about that later. But okay, we'll wrap up SmackDown because there's more exciting stuff that happened. But I want to touch on everything. These next few things we don't got to spend too much time on, but DIY, or more notably Tommaso Ciampa of DIY, squashed Pretty Deadly. Tommaso Ciampa's frustrated, doesn't tag in Gargano. There's a little backstage segment with Motor City Machine Guns. Ciampa's frustrated. Are we leading to a split?
I hope not.
I hope so.
I feel like
I hope so.
I think it's just
I don't love the Pretty Deadly squash.
No, I didn't like that.
I do not like the Pretty Deadly squash.
I didn't like that. I just think it's like, I don't know. We talk so much about how weak the tag team division is and stuff, and like tag team. It's so hard to come by like tag teams that are like they're tag teams.
Yes.
Like they can be individual wrestlers for sure, but that is a tag team. It's hard to come across those of people you don't just put together randomly. And I think we're in a time right now where they're not that they should focus on revamping the tag team division, Motor City Machine Guns on SmackDown now, where I feel like a better direction is just turning the team heel and not splitting them, because maybe adding an extra heel team as good as DIY can spice up the tag team division.
Sure. So right now you have a lot of like you have heel teams that are heel teams, but they're not credible.
Right, exactly. Like Street Profits for a while they were trying to make them heels, and like now they're kind of like getting going again, and they're being baby faces and stuff. I would prefer that, because again, if you split them, you lose a tag team, a really good prominent tag team. They were tag team champions just a few months ago, and I don't know if I trust them to have Gargano and Ciampa be good on their own, because we've seen that before and it didn't really work for either. So I don't know how that would fare this time around. I mean, I feel a little bit more confident maybe with like a few more years under Triple H's belt, and like he kind of has control here, but I don't know.
See, I don't disagree with any of that, but also my argument is DIY don't work as a tag team on the main roster. People don't care. It's been so long. People don't give a shit. It's definitely a lot better than what it used to be.
Yeah, for sure.
It's miles
from a few
better.
Months ago.
give up. It doesn't work. People don't care about them. I think if if I am also nervous and am not too optimistic that them splitting up and because what I want them to split up and feud and then go back to that NXT feud and whatever, see if that works. I'm not too optimistic about that, but my take is like if the DIY main roster tag team isn't soaring, try that. Try the split up. Try the feud.
And that's why I think like the heel push can do that too.
That's why I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
Giving them that edge, and kind of we're seeing it from Ciampa now, and it's like he's going to convert Gargano because at one point like they were a face tag team in NXT. Then Ciampa turned on him. He was a great heel solo. Gargano was a great face solo, but Gargano was a heel at one point too, and it was pretty good in NXT. So they both can. They can do that. They can both be the bad guy.
Yeah.
I think I would just prefer them giving that a shot before splitting them. And I stand more so because of the tag team's weak enough as it is. That's kind of more where I stand on.
I think there's such a difference between like the internet loves them. Mm-hmm. I think it's so different than the 90% of the audience that's like just watching on TV and in the crowd, and they've improved that so much. Right. But like, especially with their, the Motor City Machine Gun match was like, I think if that performance didn't sell them on the crowd, then what the fuck is? Sure. What is?
Sure.
But I think at least like, the Venn diagram here, where I think we can at least meet in the middle is like, they need a change, whether it's a split up or like you said, just turn them both heel and dive into that.
I mean, they
gotta try something.
There's a lot of stuff happening in the tag team division on SmackDown because we have stuff there. And then I mentioned the Street Profits, and they're kind of like the story that they're running. They have the tag team championship match on Friday against Motor City Machine Guns, and they're kind of in that story of like backs against the wall. We haven't won a championship in 4 years, like being disrespected, blah 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 blah. So I wonder what that's gonna lead for them. Like, I mean, they're doing something with this in the division. Like they're trying to make people care about these teams and put more of a focus on them. So.
I mean, like you said, we'll lead into that and kind of a team that might be splitting up as well. So credit to like trying to keep some tag teams here. Motor City Machine Guns do defeat Theory and Waller.
Yes.
And like you said, then the Street Profits versus Motor City Machine Guns for the tag titles is set for next week. Theory and Waller are another team. We're kind of talking about it. They're both super talented.
Right.
I'm not the biggest Austin Theory fan, but like I understand.
They ran its course as a tag team.
I think it was
fine for like when it started and it was cool and stuff, but now
we've been looking at a potential Theory babyface run or turn for a while. They were getting real close to it, cooled off on it. He's acting way less douchey, which I think is like a sign of like they're trying to get people to maybe like him.
That's like I mentioned it before with like guys like Karrion Kross and even Solo. It's like he's such a cool guy in real life. Like I've seen podcast clips. Like he's actually so likable. I
saw some recent clips and he seems like a chill dude.
Yeah,
dude.
Like he was talking about selling the stunner or something like that at Mania from Stone Cold, and just like he seems like kids love him. He does a lot of like charity side stuff, and seems like a very like personable, likable dude where they can again feed off of that and give him something. I think he can make it work, but they haven't pulled the trigger on it.
I'm really curious I'm curious and excited to see what a face Theory would be. So we haven't seen that on the main roster.
Not at all.
I don't even know if we've seen it. I'm not too hip on his NXT days.
NXT,
but
he was great because he was with Gargano.
Andy
Hartwell, Candice LeRae. They were The Way was their team name, and he was like they were. I think they were mostly heels. Like I think they had a time where they were faces, but he was like super entertaining. Austin Theory in NXT, nothing like Austin Theory on the main roster. So like night and day. So if we see the NXT one, I think he'll be.
That's the thing. The kid's talented.
He is,
but it's like,
and he's young too.
That's the thing.
Young.
And I gotta make it clear. Like it's the same sentiment with DIY. Like I do not think DIY works. They're both. They're both two. Outside of the TV show in real life, they're both two of the most talented wrestlers on earth. Which is why I think a lot of my frustration comes from, where it's like, it's like a Theory or like you said, a Karrion Kross. It's that same pool of, I'm commenting on what I'm being given on TV.
Yeah.
So I gotta make it clear that as much as I'm dogging on DIY, it's not the people outside of the characters. I gotta make that clear.
It's what we're given on TV.
Just to wrap up on SmackDown, and this goes into some Raw stuff, so we don't gotta touch on this too much right now. Jade and Bianca defeat Tiffany and Nia. Candice LeRae intervened. Naomi intervened to kind of even the odds. Again, more stepping stones, I think, is getting all these women in the same storyline to lead into a WarGames. Everyone's it's kind of a mess because it's too many people. But
it is a mess.
Like I said, it happens again on Raw, so I think we'll kind of just circle back to that later. But we'll move on to Raw. Gunther Damian promo.
Yeah, Damian was cooking him.
I got some problems.
I
got some problems.
What problems?
So Damian, I loved this cocky Damian, whatever. Like he said, Damian was cooking him.
Yep.
Why is Gunther afraid? Why is Gunther so scared?
He did just lose to Cody. He's vulnerable right now. He's vulnerable right now.
Commentary tried to sell it like Gunther doesn't know this new Damian Priest, which is nice to sell and put over Priest, but and we talk about this all the time. This is Gunther. This is supposed to be like the guy that like barely gets affected by anything, and it was just a promo. And Gunther's standing there like he's about to piss his pants. What are we doing?
Yeah, no, I get it.
I hated that.
I think it's just more of like, we know what we're getting out of Gunther, and I think for him, it's just like I get where you're coming from and stuff, but he like makes up for it in the ring. Like for what we're like, oh, like he seems scared, like whatever it is, like then the match will start and be like, all right, this is.
But that's the thing is he should be confident enough because he knows how good he is in the ring. So he should be confident enough to be like, I'm not scared of what you say because I can back it up.
That's true.
What I mean?
And then I think that might be going back, and this might just be me like thinking about this. I don't know if it's actually like part of why or the story, but like he was super cocky against Cody, and that cost him. It's kind of like
he wasn't afraid of Cody.
Commentary made a comment of it being like he got too ahead of himself and like whatever. So I think maybe that
now he's nervous about his own abilities.
I think that might be what we're playing into.
Yeah,
I think it's like you can do it without making him look super weak. Like you can make Damian look like confident and cocky and all that stuff and dominant without like making Gunther look like a complete like pussy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like because he can still get his jabs in, but you can still make Damian Priest like get the upper hand in the promo.
I forget if it happened here, if it was later in the show, but like there was a moment where Gunther basically ran away from him, and it's like, and like that adds to the heel, which we've talked about how like we kind of prefer him to be a heel, but not like a Miz sort of heel,
right?
But the other coin of it, which I mentioned, I do really love how much this put. I mean, Damian looks fucking sick.
He does. I think that. So was
I like
main,
that.
like,
right.
The main purpose there for sure.
Ludwig comes in. Him and Gunther kind of butt heads a little bit. And Gunther versus Damian, we mentioned it earlier, official for Survivor Series. Yeah. Bada bing, bada boom.
Tough place for it to be. Survivor Series is, I don't know. Like this match will be great. I know it's a rematch and everything, but this kind of feels like a main event of Raw, like a big Raw episode. They kind of hype up, like maybe before Survivor Series, or like a Saturday night main event. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I like this will be a good match.
That's kind of what we were talking. That would be on Saturday night main event.
Yeah, I mean it is because it's like mid-December, so that still is a month away.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people were speculating Punk Gunther too.
Yes,
where I'm not like harping on like I'm mad that this is happening at Survivor Series because it's not Gunther Punk. That's not where I'm coming from. I just feel like I don't know. Just doesn't feel like that I don't know. It doesn't feel that big of a match. Personally,
I like that they like. The way they set it up, I like with like he qualified by winning the 4-way.
Yes,
Granted, there was a lot of Bronson Reed interference. So like, I like how they did it. I like how he, fought his way back to like earn the whatever. But I'm with you in the sense of I don't think they capitalized on it. But again, I do like how they presented Damian, where he's like, and commentary put him over as he's this new and improved Damian. He's a lot more stronger than he was. And
we have a few more weeks to build it up and everything.
Yeah.
So by the time, it comes around, I could feel a lot different about it. But
I mean, this isn't main eventing over the Bloodline WarGames match, so I think that's also part of it, where it's like we need like a good world title match, but it's not Gunther Punk.
Sure,
you know. So let's
I get it.
Slide that in, get the rematch. Gunther beats Damian, kind of solidifies that, ties a nice bow on that.
Yeah.
Moving on. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It is crazy to think about that. It's 1 year, or coming up on 1 year since the Punk return. At Survivor Series.
I know.
You know?
Insane time that was.
Maybe he'll return again for a second time.
Make it 2 years in a row. Yeah. Why not? Yeah, maybe he when Gunther wins, if Gunther wins, he comes out after and challenges him. Who knows?
Dakota Kai is back.
That's right.
Fired up.
Yep.
No real I would have appreciated maybe some like some build up. She'd kind of just pop up and it's like
out of nowhere.
Back.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Yeah, which sometimes it's a nice surprise.
Damage Control defeats Pure Fusion Collective. Great. Who cares about Pure Fusion Collective? But Dakota Kai's back. Everyone looks good. We're in good shape here. Like I said, I think EO has already graduated to this world title picture.
Yeah.
But we got some. I mean, between Kyrie and Dakota, we got some mid card shooters.
Yes, we
got
do.
some mid card shooters.
Yeah.
Even you could run back like Dakota and Kyrie for tag titles.
Asuka's injured right now. At some point when she comes back, she could be in the fold for it as well. Absolutely.
So yeah, this is great. I don't have much else to say about that. But welcome back, Dakota.
Welcome back, Dakota.
All right, here we are. We're back at Bloodline stuff. Surprise. So I kind of put everything together throughout the whole night. But Jimmy confirms. We were already talking about this, but he kind of confirmed that like this is officially like a 5-on-5. We need our 5th member.
Oh my gosh, what a fucking mess!
And they need a 5th. Sammy says, "I know someone."
Of course he does.
Later, like I said, the timeline's not here, so we're gonna talk about some other stuff later. But later, Sammy he asked Seth Rollins to be the 5th member.
The audacity, the gall to ask Seth,
and he's like, hey, and Seth is of sound fucking mind.
He is very respectful.
Hey, you were, Roman, just like I'm still brothers with Jay and Jimmy. You're still brothers with Roman. That never leaves. And then Seth is like, "Are you fucking crazy?
If this was
Are
Netflix,
you nuts, dude?"
So his line was, "I think you're out of your damn mind." He goes, "I think you're the 5th member." He goes, "I think you're out of your damn mind." If this was Netflix, he would have said, "I think you're out of your fucking mind."
Are you fucking nuts?
Listen. I appreciate from what it seems like.
Love a callback.
For the next week, we're going to be getting them chasing after guys, trying to recruit them, and I like it.
I like that a lot.
They like talk to Bron Breakker, a few other guys, and it's like they're like it makes sense. Like Bron Breakker has like he's from a wrestling family, so let's get him. Seth has the connection with Roman, but it was just really funny and also realistic of Seth just being like, "Bro, what the fuck? Like, why would I ever do that?" And he's like, "You saying you know him more than anyone? I know him more than anyone. I'm never teaming with him." Like, he hasn't made a comment or like about Cody teaming with him. I know when he returned, he was like, "And over there, like people like hell must have froze over because of whatever." So he's like, he probably, we don't know where he stands on there. He's probably not happy about Cody being involved there, but
even Seth saying to Sammy like he's manipulated, telling all this shit, and then Sammy's like, "But we're family,"
and he's just like, "I'm shocked that you of all people are getting past." And he's like, "But we're at the end of the day, like we have this, like we're family. We have
on
this to
Raw,
focus
we're
on."
all fam.
Yeah, on Raw, we're all fam. So yeah, it was cool seeing Seth, like I guess being involved, but also just like shooting it down.
It makes sense to ask him. Like you said, and then Jimmy talks to Bron Breakker, or says that, or they're gonna talk, whatever. Solo also tries to recruit Seth Rollins,
and
Seth says he will never team with Roman Reigns, but he will never join forces with a wannabe Roman Reigns.
Absolutely.
Him and Jacob get a little stare down, which is really cool.
Do you see Jacob? And this is genius. Jacob's new shirt. It's like it's him on the front with like his hands, like his praying hands, and it says, "I love you," and then it's like the name of the city that they're in. So
that's pretty good.
"I love you, Brooklyn," or something like that.
Good.
Like that is amazing.
That's
I was
funny.
Like, you can fucking
I did not
print
see
those
that
every show. Yeah.
Wow, and they do that a lot with like the Austin 316. They'll do the city.
Yeah, I think Jey Uso does it now, like Yeet City or something, something like that. But yeah, no, those shirts are
funny.
cool.
So that's that.
I like the recruiting story. Like it.
I like it too.
I hope it. For the love of God, if there's one thing I want to drag out, have it drag out to like the last week of like we don't know who the fifth member is for either team until the last.
I would say even if you want
wait until the show.
I was gonna say even if you want the new bloodline to be established and then do the classic like they have 4 members, who's the fifth, and then someone's music.
And all credit to WWE because at the hindsight 2020 we did get the unexpected CM Punk return, but like Randy Orton was announced beforehand.
Oh yeah,
and he wasn't even on TV, but like when he came out it was like, is he actually gonna come out? And then he did, but like we knew, so it's like this time around they can be like, oh, we have the fifth member, but we're not gonna say who it is, and then you actually have the anticipation of whose music's gonna hit, whatever.
So who do we as it is the title,
I don't know,
who do we think it's gonna be?
So I
hope it's not Cody. I hope it's not Cody, but there's no world title set up. No world title match.
Like, there's no way the Rock is in a WarGames match, right?
No, he can't. He cannot.
He could though, but he could because then
I would love it.
I've had people tweeting at me saying like, he's gonna come in, he's not gonna do a single move, it's gonna last 2 minutes, and boom, bada bing, bada boom, and I get that.
Yeah,
and like the idea of like looking back,
he's not going to do a shooting star press off the top. He's just going to be in the ring as if there is a cage or not.
There's going to be jack shit that he does in that match. And like looking back on it 5 years from now, I'll be like, can you believe the Rock's in a WarGames match? Like, yeah, that'll be a crazy like little Easter egg, like little fun fact there. But I'm still in the camp, and I said this months ago of like, I don't want Roman and Rock to get physical with each other until they have their match. As far as like, if they put The Rock in this match, and even if it's a face-off, like I get it, I guess like in that case they're not like fighting each other, whatever. But like I want to save that moment of them being in the ring together until their Mania match.
And also logically, if they're in a WarGames match, it's real hard. Like it's real hard to give reason for them not to touch because they're in a WarGames match. They're together. So how are you gonna
how are you gonna avoid that?
Yeah.
And then, because if it's The Rock, I think it's Cody, because then you have to think of who's going to match up with The Rock. You can't have some random guy. I've seen.
I like this
Cody.
Take.
I've seen.
Oh, I thought it was another take. Kevin Owens.
Yes, so it's Cody Rhodes on one side, Kevin Owens on the other.
Yeah.
And then people are like, that doesn't make sense. Kevin Owens with Bloodline. I actually think it does make sense. I actually think it makes a lot of sense. Because if Cody Rhodes this side again with Roman, I mean, they already did it. So like we don't have to go through this whole. I guess that saves the whole like
rigmarole.
They're good now. They're on the same page. We won't have to do this whole thing of him being on their side. He's already friends with Jay and Sammy. So
even for Kevin's sake, his only excuse is like, I want to beat the shit out of Cody. Cody's in the match,
right?
Sign me up.
I mean, he also does have his shit with Roman, and
that's true.
And like as much as him and Sammy are on good terms now, like for him to see Sammy joining Roman, he takes offense to that, and he doesn't have any ties really. I mean, Solo he does because Solo was involved in previous feuds, but like with the new bloodline, like Jacob, the Tongas, like he doesn't have like bad blood with them. So like, I think it's fair if he sided with them. Like, he's feuded with the Bloodline, but he's joining the new Bloodline, which is different.
I'm also seeing a lot of like this could lead to Kevin versus Sammy. So this could be the first seed of doing the Kevin Sammy feud.
I think they could do, if they do Cody Kevin, that sets up their match eventually. Like that's like the preview of their match. You can set up Kevin and Sammy at some point in the future. I mean, plenty of seeds you can plant there. I mean, Jacob Fatu, Roman Reigns is already there. The Usos versus the Tongas is already there. So yeah, I mean, would I have preferred if they just kept it 4v4 for the simplicity of it? I think so. But I mean, if they're gonna add a fifth member, just make it make sense.
If we get The Rock and Cody in it, who am I to complain?
Who am I? If the Rock's music hits, who am I to say I'm not gonna go fucking crazy?
Nuts,
like
dude.
I'd see The Rock coming out in his tights, getting ready to go into a double
so
ring,
funny.
double steel cage. Just the image of that is hilarious. God damn it, I love this good shit.
Damn it, I love WarGames.
He comes out with a bottle of his tequila, takes a shot,
Two rings,
throws it to the crowd. Like, got 2 rings, god damn it. But yeah,
I think if there's no, well,
I'm trying to take The Rock out of things. I'm also like, when's he gonna show up again? Like, what I mean?
They did mention him last night.
He did
because he's on the cover of GQ.
Bro, have you seen the pictures?
I have that for the Patreon. Yeah,
pretty fucking wild. I really hope
it's one where he's barefoot in a suit. Why?
He's wearing like jorts in the back of a pickup truck or something
I didn't see that one.
I need him and Seth to feud once more, and Seth to be like, "You make fun of me.
Yeah.
Let's show the crowd what you look like." That's so funny. If I'm taking The Rock out of things, I'm just like focusing on guys that are here now. I think Cody, Kevin, because there's no feud, but there's no match for Cody right now.
Thing.
Like, he's got nothing going on.
If they don't
he's got to be on the card.
If they don't make if they don't make a world, I don't fully believe this, but for the sake of saying it, if there's no world title match, if Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes isn't like scheduled or on the card, that's absolutely who we're getting.
Throw them in there.
Even if they're on the card, I could see them fighting early in the night, and then that's the main event. And they both come back for the main event. You know what I mean? Like, who's to say they didn't need to fight once? You know?
It's just, I wonder how involved Seth is going to stay in this. Because I feel like it could have just been a one-off thing. Like, Sammy's like, hey, like, join our team, and like, that's it. Maybe, because then he had the backstage with Solo and Jacob.
I mean, I think we need to get Seth and Roman need to continue eventually, because the last shit we had was Seth getting his ass laid out at Mania in the Shield outfit.
Black eye, his leg is twisted the other way. He can't stand. And now they're gonna team up. I mean, hell has frozen over this year, so I mean, fuck it. But like, I would definitely be more on like Cody and Roman did it. Sure. They made it work. I don't know if I can get past Roman and Seth teaming. At least this soon, like this close to Mania, after everything that happened.
I would prefer, in a different sense, I don't know if I even want Cody in it. Like, if I get Cody in it, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah.
But like,
we already saw him and Roman.
That's the thing.
And he already helped the Bloodline. Why is he back in this?
Exactly. Like, he is going to return eventually, but like, I prefer the idea of Cody got his whatever they did the tag match, but now it's strictly Bloodline and Bloodline feud.
Right.
Like, Cody doesn't have business in it right now. He'll come back, whatever. But I don't know. They need a fifth member.
Why is it 5v5?
I don't think
4v4 was right there.
I don't think Bron Breakker is going to be there. Why would he?
Going to be in this year's
work. Why would he?
In my head, if they announce Cody, it's going to be Kevin.
Yes.
If for some reason, they could
do a returning Randy again, where like Randy comes back from the pile driver.
They could.
You know what I mean?
I think they should really sell that though.
Yeah.
They should really have him like.
Well, come out in a neck brace.
Yeah, have him wrestle in a neck brace. If for some reason Seth Rollins sticks around and he teams with the Bloodline, I think it's The Rock.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's Cody, I could see The Rock too.
Yeah, I think I'd believe it more.
But Seth makes sense.
I mean, Cody does, because Cody has a feud with Kevin and The Rock, but he needs. Yeah. But I think he needs to get past this Kevin one first before getting back to The Rock. But at the same time, The Rock did come back a few months ago and did the whole neck slit thing. I don't know what's supposed to come first. Who is getting the first shot at the back?
Like, why wouldn't they have just done 4-on-4 and The Rock comes out after? Like, you know
that makes too much sense. No, that probably what should have happened, or what should have happened. But the whole fifth member thing is really throwing things.
Like I said, I will plant my flag in the ground. Whereas as confusing as it is, it's unpredictable, which I think
I'll give it to him.
is overall a good thing. And like I said, if The Rock ends up in that fucking WarGames match, who am I to complain? I'm gonna be over the moon.
We get Dwayne Johnson and a double caged ring. That's money right there. That's money.
All right, that's that. We'll move on a little bit. We are over the hour, but there is some stuff. There is some more stuff on the main show we gotta get to.
Wyatt Sicks stuff, maybe.
You want to go to Wyatt Sicks? We'll go to Wyatt Sicks.
I think that was pretty.
Final Testament. Take out Wyatt Sicks. Here's what happened. Here's the lay of the land. The Miz, backstage, he says, he's warning Karrion Kross. He's like, leave it alone. I made peace with the Wyatts. I apologize and everything. They let me go. Blah, blah, blah. Miz is like, move on from them. Karrion Kross says he's going to break Miz's legs. Drags him out to the ring with AOP. Karrion's like, he wants the Wyatt. Somewhere along the line, Miz's eye starts bleeding. Did you see that?
Yeah,
that was crazy. Wyatt Sicks come out, ended up being a whole setup. Miz takes out Rowan with a chair from behind. Final Testament ends out laying out the Wyatt Sicks, and they stand tall. Uncle Howdy, the last shot, ends up doing his laughing thing at the end.
Hey, listen.
Crazy.
I'll say it. I love it. I like it because I like it.
You like it or you love it?
I love it. I both. Okay. Because they can't have the Wyatt Sicks be this undebeatable, can't be destroyed group. Because even with Bray Wyatt, even with the Fiend, honestly, there were moments, whether it was good storytelling or not, like him losing to Goldberg shouldn't have happened, but he was never presented as he's this borderline unbeatable character, but he can get beaten down. He can be left in the ring or whatever and lose a match or something. I think the Wyatt Sicks, it's important for us to see that they can get beaten down and they can be left in the ring, from the Final Testament or whatever. And I think the Final Testament doing this, along with the Miz, who is a more, bigger name than Karrion Kross and all them. But, we talked about this in even the Hot Takes video. It's we are Karrion Kross has no direction. He has nothing going on. They're boring, this and that. You have them do this. And even when this feud started, I started to care more about the Final Testament.
Sure.
I'm locked in now, man. I think Karrion Kross looked great. The Miz looked good and stuff like that. And Uncle Howdy was still laughing at the end. So they were beaten down, but it's there's still life there, obviously. I think doing that, not makes people care more, but I think people are more interested now being oh, the Wyatt Sicks got beaten down. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the positive for me, is that the Final Testament get life. And
exactly.
AOP and Karrion Kross and Scarlett, I like the whole thing with kind of the swan song of Paul Ellering a few weeks ago. I'm a lot more 50-50 on the Wyatt beatdown. I would have preferred maybe one more dominant feud and one more where the Wyatt Sicks and we're big and dominant and maybe hinting at we can't be beaten. It does make more sense and we've talked about this before, but as we've seen, and this is a positive, that they're not being sold as these mythical beings.
Right.
They are 5 misunderstood people who have these basically split personalities, but ultimately they're Eric Rowan and they're Dexter Lumis, but they have been either taken over by this personality or they're in this cult under Howdy or however you want to spin it. But ultimately they are just new forms of these wrestlers. They're not magic, right?
Exactly.
Which is a positive, and I think we've been singing the praise of that, and it's different. It is a fix of you were saying the Fiend. It's like early Fiend, I guess I think was pretty untouchable. Yeah, he was whatever.
Once they started, that was more of booking decisions. Once you get to the Seth Hell in the Cell, the Gold, that destroyed that. But yes.
So I think they did a good job at correcting it. It's we're not going to make them mythical. Whatever. Point being, but I don't know. This is their second feud. I think they could have used. I love being shocked. Whether I'm happy about the shock or sad about the shock, I'm always pleasantly surprised by a surprise.
Sure.
So that's also credit I can give it. I think didn't expect it, but I don't love them getting laid out. I don't.
I get it. It's it is their second feud, so they're still early on into this. At the same time, it is their second feud. They've been on the Raw. They made their debut or whatever you want to call it 3 months ago. So it is it's I feel it's a weird.
I think that's more of a poor booking thing.
It's 3 months, 2 feuds type of thing. Yeah. But I think it's enough time has passed where it's enough time has passed where I feel not that it was bound to happen, but it's okay, it's we were eventually gonna see something like this, and they're built on this family and this is my family, we came together for this big reason, whatever. Now it's Howdy, when Rowan got hit with the chair, Howdy looked at him you just hit, you just did hurt my family. Yeah. So I think maybe to the benefit of the shock, they can turn that into now Uncle Howdy might take it up a notch of being like, you fuck with my family, like I'm really gonna fucking kill you now. So I mean, that's also me like kind of speculating and like looking towards like, booking whatever, but it could play off as that too.
I'm sure. I think some people have been complaining about the Wyatt Sicks. I am still fully on the Wyatt Sicks.
I love them.
But I think it would have. It didn't hit as hard. Them getting beat down. Yes, I was shocked for it to happen. I wasn't shocked because the Wyatt Sicks are so powerful. I was shocked because I was like, whoa, already? Whoa, you know what I mean?
I think this feud,
it didn't feel them beating down Wyatt Sicks to me it wasn't sold to me, or it didn't deliver as like a, oh my god, Final Testament beat down the Wyatt Sicks. Like I don't think they established themselves enough for this.
I do think, you know, I get where you're coming from. I do think that a feud like this needed that, just to kind of, so it's not completely lopsided, and just
it helps. Like, that's like I said, it helps Final Testament a million percent, which is a positive for sure.
And it's like, again, like people are like, they're boring, they're not legit. It's like, I think this is how you make them legit. We'll see where the story goes next week, but
if maybe this leads to like some payback, and maybe like the Wyatt Sicks start kidnapping members of, you know,
not even Karrion Kross, or like they have Paul Elrig or something like that. I know we did the Swan song, but they can do a backstage thing.
All of a sudden, Scarlett's missing, or, you know, something. Where it's like, this is clearly set up for a whole thing.
The American-made feud lasted a while. I think this one was
the American-made feud is arguably overstayed its welcome toward the end there too.
Since that lasted for as long as it did, I can see them kind of, I don't want to say dragging it out, but I can see them doing a bunch of things leading up to a bigger match, or a Karrion Kross Howdy match, whatever it may be.
It does help. Miz got the upper hand with a chair.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That helps too, of like having someone like the Miz in there, where he's like the vet, like super top guy, whatever. So like I think that to me helps as well.
Sure.
But yeah,
I think I just in my head, I thought they were built up a little more. Not untouchable, but I thought they were a little more powerful, and I didn't. I was pretty like, Final Testament got him, but like I said, I will be a lot happier with this when I see in the coming weeks of the Wyatt Sicks, like you said, maybe snapping a little bit more, getting revenge for this, which I think will happen.
I mean, they already kidnapped the Miz, so let's keep the trend going.
That's the thing. So I think there's a lot of potential with it that'll make me like this better. But as of now, I'm a lot more 50-50 on it.
I'm also like, at this point, the last thing I'll say about the Wyatt Sicks is, up to this point, like the American-made feud, we can debate whether that kind of overstayed its welcome, whatever. But so far, I think they've delivered with the Wyatt Sicks. I think, I mean, if this past week is the one big critique that people may have of like them getting beat down, whatever, then like honestly, if that's the only critique out of the last 3-4 months, I think that's a success.
I'm happy they're back on TV. Happy they're back on TV.
So I trust the process with them. So I'm gonna remain trusting the process.
All right, let's go one more topic. So this is a pretty beefy show, a little longer one. Excuse me, before we jump over to Patreon. Funny note. Bron Breakker versus Sheamus for the IC title set next week.
Yep.
They reminded everyone that Sheamus has never won the IC title. It's the one thing stopping him from getting that Grand Slam, whatever. Which they reiterated that, and we've talked about it before. Shocking that he's never had the IC title.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
it is. It seems like it's a him title.
Like he's a multiple-time world champion. He's won the US belt a few times, but like. I mean this as zero disrespect to Sheamus, but like as many world titles as he won, like you would think like he's such a mainstay on the roster, like mid card title scene and stuff. Like he would have been like a multiple time. Like,
that's what I mean. Yeah, for sure.
Like a workhorse belt. I know it's kind of been given that workhorse belt title over the last few years with Gunther and stuff, but. Yeah, I mean, he's a main event guy, but he would have fucking crushed it as like the mid card guy going after the IC belt all the time.
The funniest thing about this feud is sparked over the speed title.
Yeah, I saw that they had a match on. They were promoting their match.
Bron Breakker was like,
he's fast, Bron. He's fast.
That was his promo. He was like, he was like, I'm the fastest superstar on the roster.
You know what?
I deserve to have the speed title. He was like carrying around 2 belts. Sheamus was.
Wait, is he the speed champ? Bron Breakker?
No, I'm saying because Sheamus cost him. Sheamus cost him. Which is why
you made me nervous. I was like, he's the speed champion right now?
Competed for it.
I'll God bless Triple H. God bless them. They really are like working on it. They're really like, I mean, they've had like Bron Breakker, Sheamus has fought, Io Sky was in the women's side of things. All credit to them. They're trying to make it work. I don't give two fucks. I
forget it exists.
I don't give two. I don't, because I see like 5 tweets a day of being like, make sure this Wednesday 12 o'clock on X live streaming.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Check out Pete Dunne versus Dragon Lee for the Speed Championship.
I will not be there. I am sorry. Again, God bless them. I don't give a shit.
No,
I'm sorry.
But yeah, that was the funny thing that this feud started over the Speed title, and Bron Breakker's reasoning for wanting it because he's fast.
Hey man, I give more shits about their match for the IC belt than their Speed match. That's for sure.
Okay, we're gonna. It's a lot of. We already kind of mentioned some WarGame stuff with the woman. We kind of mentioned. Well, all right. So to I think we'll bleed over into the Patreon with this, but. To kind of wrap up WarGames talk before we jump over to Patreon, patreon.com/Stache Club Wrestling.
Check it out.
Jade and Bianca retain over Liv and Raquel. Tiffany and Nia Jax come out to take out Jade. Naomi comes out again to even the odds. Incredibly short match. I think way shorter.
That was the main event, too.
It was the main event, and it was wicked short. It's for the titles, too.
Yeah.
Io Sky comes in to save Jade from post-match beatdown. They also fight with Tiffany. So the final shot, which is a great, as convoluted as this all is, amazing final shot of Jade, Bianca, Naomi, and Io all standing tall. Had a really nice moment of, because now, Bianca's a face. Io is now a face. Io's a face for the most part, I guess is what it's is. And Bianca and Jade Bianca and Io kind of had a little like, they're all shaking hands. They were like, they shook hands and kind of did a little thing, which was nice. So it's looking like, I didn't write all the names down, but so help me out here. It's looking like
Jade, Bianca, Naomi, Io versus Nia, Tiffany, Liv, Raquel.
Right. I saw maybe fifth members on the other side. Maybe like, I forget who else got those. Maybe like Kyrie gets thrown in, and then on the other sid they get I forget who, someone else, but like for the most part, this is like, it's what we're looking at.
Oh man.
Did we talk about this in the hot takes video? I forget what video it was.
About WarGames kind of being watered down. I get like Jade, Bianca have been involved with Nia, Tiffany. And now Liv, Raquel, and all
Io
that
getting
stuff.
thrown in.
Io getting thrown in. I know she's like the number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, so I guess that's where it comes from. But yeah, I mean, we talk about it in the hot takes again, so you guys you'll know what we're talking about when that video comes out. But I think a match like this, it's like, although it makes sense, it's like, I don't know. I think they could do without this as being a WarGames match, personally.
Yeah, I mean, like to just reiterate what I said is like, there's no real story here. It's the Hell in a Cell comparison. We dive more into it on the hot takes of just having the stipulation match for the sake of having the stipulation match, because that's what the pay-per-view is called. Regardless, so this is like the full speculation is if it's 5-on-5. It's an addition of those 8 women we said, plus Kairi Sane on the good guys side and a Candice LeRae on the bad guys side.
That does make sense. Because Kairi and Io obviously damage control. Dakota just came back, so she wouldn't be in it. And then Candice has been with Nia and stuff, like involved there.
So like again, to reiterate what I said, at the end of the day, there's no story, but these 10 women in a WarGames match, it'll be a fun time.
It'll be a fun match. It just goes back.
There won't be much story behind it, but I'll have fun.
I said it in the hot takes. This could be a 5v5 elimination, like just traditional Survivor Series.
Yeah,
match.
that would do way better.
A match like this that is like the Bloodline versus Bloodline is something that we've been speculating for months, for so long. Whether or not we'll have the final members confirmed before the show or not, like, the story's been there for fucking forever. So like that makes sense. It's like this one, it's like even with Jade and Bianca feuding with Nia, Tiffany, and then Liv and Raquel now, like that's only been like in the span of a few weeks, a month, if you want to say. And it's like this match definitely feels like more put together and a little bit more force if it is a WarGames match than the men's. And for a match like this, like I think the match would be great. And I think all 10 of these women, like they deserve a spot on the card for 1,000%. But I think to preserve the mystique of the WarGames match stipulation and like not wanting it to turn into like a Hell in a Cell watered down thing, I would prefer keeping this a different stipulation match and away from WarGames.
Yeah.
But it seems like we're going down the WarGames path. So if that's what it is, that's what it is. And the match will be good. Right. It's just I think I would just prefer to stray away from putting everyone in a WarGames match for the sake of it.
Yeah, I liked your idea a lot of just because it's WarGames doesn't mean you also can't have the classic elimination.
Why do we gotta stop that? Why do we have to stop that?
And that would have been fun. I think that would have worked a lot better for this. Something else I was gonna say. Like I said, again, to your point is like it would have. Do the women absolutely deserve like a WarGames match
for sure,
and a WarGames women's match is great. The women's WarGames match last year, I think it was a Damage Control one.
It was
was a great time. EO jumping off the thing in the fucking trash can. It was great. But I think there are maybe if the story isn't there or doesn't lend to it, then having the Bloodline one as the WarGames match.
Exactly.
And
that's what you're selling, the WarGames match.
And then do a better job next year at building the women's one.
Exactly. And it's no knock on like the women by any means. It's just a matter of
the booking.
It's the booking.
Yeah.
And it's just like if the story isn't strong, it's 2 cages, 2 rings. Like that is meant to be like the ultimate like payoff, like the ultimate like the end of a feud, whatever it may be. And it's just like that match doesn't feel like they're at that level where like it needs to end in a WarGames match. It's barely even begun. You know what I mean? So it's like, why does it need to be in a match? And
again, to reiterate, for the sake of it being like a fun fantasy, like these 5 talented women versus these 5 talented.
Tiffany in a WarGames match is going to be fire. She's going to do a moonsault.
I would say her bouncing off the 3 ropes and then bouncing up to the thing.
Get her a trampoline.
It's going to be sick. It's going to be fun.
For sure.
So it's like, we're not complaining about like the match quality or whatever.
Exactly.
Like I'd imagine it's going to be a good time. But it's like it's more so story and booking where it's like they could have done a better job at booking the women's WarGames match. I think is ultimately what we're saying. I
agree. If there even is one, there might not even be.
Right. It has. We're definitely jumping ahead a little bit.
Gun. Yeah.
But okay, that's the show, folks. If you want to see us continue on, there's some stuff that's left on the board here, but also we have a ton of questions that we're gonna field from you guys. I already see a WarGames question.
Oh yeah.
Head over to patreon.com/Stache Club Wrestling. While you're there, not while you're there, but if you want to listen to this, well, also you can connect it. I was going to plug Spotify again, but if you connect your Patreon to your Spotify, you can listen to the Patreon exclusive episodes on Spotify.
That's sick.
I don't know how that works, but it works. It's
I
crazy.
Ask questions.
Please leave us a rating, leave us a like. If you're on Apple Podcasts, write us a nice little thing, 5 stars. We'd appreciate it. And thank you for being here as always. We have merch in the description. You know the deal here. And thank you. We'll see you next week. We'll see you all week.
We'll see you all week. We'll see you in Patreon.
Bye.
See you at the after party. Boom. Peace. Do you think sports betting will come to WWE? And he goes, no. Absolutely. It's just it will
There's
never
been talks
make
about that for years.
It will never happen. It will never happen.
Very, very thankful for it. We've been in the media section for a couple times. Yes. Media section is pretty dead in terms of energy.
Boring. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So we had the Patriots on one, and then we had Red Zone on the other. That was my first time ever watching Red Zone.